The police minister, you would have seen earlier on the show, breaking news, 6 robbers killed in a cash and transit robbery in Rosettenville. And this comes just days after we got those crime statistics. The minister saying that cash and transit robberies have decreased in the last quarter. This is between October and December, and particularly a province that has shown a significant decrease is a province like Gauteng, for example, where you would have seen more and more, cash and transit robberies. And the minister saying that this is because it's all thanks to a specialized cash and transit task team that has been established to infiltrate these well-organized gangs that are carrying out these particular crimes, and saying that they are doing all they can in order to be able to infiltrate these particular gangs that carry out these particular robberies. Now, 6 suspects, of course, as we reminded you, have been killed at this particular shootout, and we believe, of course, this cash and transit robbery took place in the afternoon in Rosettenville. Of course, details are still sketchy, but we do understand that the police minister is going to be descending to that particular scene, which is where our colleague Mbali Mthethwa is in fact stationed. Mbali, one of the things that, of course, has been quite significant was the minister talking about how they appear to be winning the war on cash and transit robberies. And this is, of course, at the crime statistics on Friday. Talk to us about the scene behind you as the minister makes his way there.
Good evening, Bongiwe. I'd like to actually touch on what you've just said in terms of what the minister said earlier, last week rather, when he did release those crime stats, talking about the fact that it seems as though they are winning that war against cash and transit heists. This is the second time that we're actually being called to the scene of a crime where suspects have been arrested just hours after a cash and transit heist. You remember just the other week, we went all the way to Gauteng, where we found around 7, actually it was 8 suspects who had been arrested, and 2 more were then arrested in Krugersdorp. We also saw the police recovering cash that had been stolen. We understand that when that crime took place, what they tried to do is they tried to bomb the cash in transit car. Today we're at a different scene and a different location in Rosettenville, where the scene behind me, I'm just going to step out of the shot, the scene behind me right now is that of bodies lying around, dead bodies. We understand that there are some who have been injured and some who have been arrested, and it seems as though many of them, 6 people, have died. The car that you see in front of me, the BMW X1, there is someone who's died here, and also just down the road, as you walk up the road, you'll see that the road is actually littered with dead bodies from what seems to have been a shootout between the suspects and the police. Now, what alerted us to this crime and what is happening here is a WhatsApp group where residents were actually communicating to each other, warning each other and informing each other to stay indoors and not to leave their homes because of what is happening outside. It seems as though the police are here, and the police minister, Begicele, is also here. He's just been briefed by the police officers who are also here assessing the scene. We actually walked through this crime scene and we were told to be careful as we were walking through, not to disturb the crime scene because there are some shells on the ground. You'll see that the road is actually marked with white and pink circles. That's where all the shells of the assault rifles that were used today. We understand that the police have also recovered some of those firearms which were used, and we also understand that when these cash and transit heists take place, these people are not only armed with assault rifles, but they also have explosives. We are yet to find out and learn from the police what they've actually recovered and how many suspects are in custody, how many have been injured, and get a sense of the number of people who have died. So far, we believe it is 6 people based on the information we have been given by the police, but we are still waiting for more information. We understand that a little bit earlier on we were informed that Gauteng Police Commissioner would be addressing the media on this crime scene and what's happened and what's taken place here today, but it seems as though this time around it will be the minister speaking to the public and addressing the public shortly after actually testifying at those Human Rights Council's commission hearing on the unrest, July unrest that took place last year.
Now, Mbali, one of the things that one is probably asking themselves tonight as we see those cars behind you and the information that you've just given us, do we know where they cornered this particular vehicle for the police to then catch up with them in Rosettenville?
We are still waiting for that information, but it seems as though, according to some intelligence that the police have actually gotten, is that it seems as though after actually carrying out those crimes or the heist, they find a place or a safe house, for lack of a better word. It seems as though that's the word they use for these places that they run to, where they then keep the cash or they count the cash or whatever, which is where we found the previous suspect. And again, this time around, it seems as though the police were aware that they would be making their way here to a safe house, which is located not far from where I'm actually standing right now. And it seems as though that's when the shootout ensued between the suspects and the police. The last cash and hands, the last arrest we witnessed was not was nothing compared to what we're seeing right now. What we've seen, there were no deaths. It seemed as though the suspects actually cooperated with the police and were allowed themselves to be arrested. And we understand that some of those who were arrested was a police official and who was charged with defeating the ends of justice. It seems as though that these suspects worked very closely with law enforcement agencies. One of the suspects, another suspect who was also arrested then, was a member of the SANDF. We are still waiting to find out if, this seems to, the trend continues in this round of arrests, and we are hoping to get more on information on the suspects who were arrested today. Now, as you see, a lot of people have actually come out of their homes to see what is happening, especially now that the fires, now that the gunshots have actually stopped and the police ministers here and the police are here. There are a lot of police here on the scene. This is, there's so much more, there's so much more police, and I can't really explain to you how many police officers, but I think there are more than 50 police cars here, and there are more than 100 police officials here on the scene today. As you can see, residents have come out. We are waiting for more information as to what has happened and what will then become of this crime scene. It's back to you in studio.
And Mbali, one of the things that becomes critical in such crime scenes is the fact that we keep seeing reports of firearms that are stolen when it comes to, from police stations. We saw even, one of the police stations, around 158 firearms being stolen. And these, of course, are firearms that police are always concerned about, because they also become part of investigations when you're looking at a crime like this, because they potentially may have been used.
Yes, that is information that we will be asking the minister when he does address the media. We will be getting as much information as possible, and to also understand if they also know how these criminals operate, and also we will be asking that question and posing that question to the minister to get a sense of, what it is they're doing and how they are going about closing in on those suspects. But as you can see, they continue to investigate and to assess the crime scene. This whole road, as I said a little bit earlier on, is littered with dead bodies.
And of course, we do apologize there for some of the visuals that you're seeing there. As Mbali describes that very gruesome scene for us, and we do, of course, apologize to our viewers tonight who are witnessing a live scene, as there are some dead bodies strewn, across that particular street. And we are, of course, watching the story. And the police minister, Pegicele, you would have seen him making his way upward there to those particular officers who are stationed there, and also some forensic officers that are combing through the scene. We are expecting him to give us a briefing in the next hour. For now,